countdown for blast-off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Protection by Robert Sheckley.
There will be an airplane crash in Burma next week, but it shouldn't affect me here in New York. And the Feegs certainly can't harm me, not with all my closet doors closed. No, the big problem is Lesnarizing. I must not Lesnarize, absolutely not. As you can imagine, that hampers me. And to top it all, I think I'm catching a very nasty cold. The whole thing, including the cold, started on the evening of November 7th. I was walking down Broadway on my way to Baker's Cafeteria with Charlie Lester. He's in one of my physics classes, and we were both feeling pretty lightheaded.
Boy, I've had tough exams in my day, but that was...
You got a cold?
No, I haven't got a cold. My eyes just water, my nose runs, and I sneeze because I'm essentially a masochist. Actually, it is psychosomatic. I hate my mother and my father. Of course I've got a cold. What do you think?
Well, look, don't give it to me. I've got a heavy date with a Barnard Jr. this weekend.
My boy, there is no such thing as a heavy date with a Barnard Jr.
Never mind. Just don't blow any germs my way.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'll leave you completely. I have to go over to South Hall to pick up some books. So long.
At the moment Charlie left me, I had in my pocket 5 coins, 3 keys, and a book of matches. Just to complete the picture, let me add that the wind was coming from the northwest at 5 miles per hour. Venus was in the ascendancy, and the moon decidedly gibbous. You can draw your own conclusions from this. I reached the corner of 114th Street and began to cross.
The truck! Watch out for the truck! Watch out!
Huh? What truck? Who? What? Well, there's no truck on the street. What? Oh, well, thanks, friend. If you hadn't warned me, I'd... Hey, where are you? Who said that to me? Where are you?
Can you still hear me?
Well, sure I can. Where are you? There isn't anybody here. Where are you?
Gronish. Is that the referent? Refraction index. Creature of insubstantiality. The shadow knows. Did I pick the right one?
What, you're invisible?
That's it. I knew the concept was somewhere in you.
Well, what are you?
A Valadusian Derg.
A what?
Would you mind opening your larynx a little wider, please? You see, I am using your sub-vocalizations to communicate. Now, breathe deeply. That's it. That's it. That's better. Well, let's see now. I am the spirit of Christmas past, a creature from the Black Lagoon, the bride of Frankenstein.
Now, hold on. What are you trying to tell me, that you're a ghost or a creature from another planet?
Same thing, obviously.
Oh, well, that makes it all perfectly clear. Any fool can see that a disembodied voice must belong to someone from another planet.
Exactly. I'm invisible on Earth, but my superior senses spotted approaching danger and warned you of it.
Well, thanks. Thanks anyway about that. Well, what are you? One of those strange voices that warns Aunt Minnie to stay out of the elevator? Which then crashes to the basement?
Something like that.
Well, goodbye.
What's the matter?
Well, not a thing, except that I seem to be standing in the middle of 114th Street talking to an invisible alien from the farthest reaches of outer space. I suppose only I can hear you.
Well, naturally.
Oh, great. Well, you know where this sort of thing will land me.
The concept you are sub-vocalizing is not entirely clear.
Now, look, please, go back to one of my childhood traumas where you came from and let me alone. Thanks for the warning about the truck. Good night.
Where are you going?
I am going to a saloon down the street, much frequented by Columbia students.
Won't you talk with me?
Look, please, will you cut it out? There are 2 girls watching me now.
But you must talk to me. The real subvocal contact is very rare and astonishingly difficult. Sometimes I can get across a warning just before a dangerous moment, but then the connection fades.
Well, you mean that is the explanation of premonitions of danger?
That's right. Conditions might not be right for this kind of contact for another 100 years.
Oh, look, this is very interesting stuff for Professor Ryan at North Carolina, not for the physics department at Columbia. I have heard statistics about the overcrowding of mental hospitals, and I am not interested in contributing to that condition. Besides, there's a cop looking at me.
I appreciate your social situation, but this contact with me is in your own best interest. I want to protect you from the myriad dangers of human existence.
Get lost.
Well, I can't force you. I'll just have to offer my services elsewhere. Goodbye, friend.
Goodbye.
Oh, just one last thing. Stay off subways tomorrow between noon and 1:15 p.m.
Why?
Someone will be killed at Columbus Circle, pushed in front of a train by shopping crowds. You, if you're there. Goodbye.
No, what? Someone will be killed there tomorrow? Are you sure?
Of course.
It'll be in the newspapers?
I should imagine so.
And you know all sorts of stuff like that?
I can perceive all the dangers that radiate toward you and extend into time. My one desire was to protect you from them.
Oh. Well, look, will you wait till tomorrow evening? Those 2 girls are giggling now.
You will let me be your protector?
I'll tell you tomorrow after I read the late papers. The item was there, all right. I read it in my furnished room at 113th Street. Man pushed by the crowd, lost his balance, fell in front of an oncoming train. Well, this gave me a lot to think about while I waited for my invisible protector to show up. By the time he contacted me, I didn't know that I liked the whole idea.
Don't you trust me?
I just want to lead a normal life.
If you lead any life at all. That truck last night?
That was a freak. A once-in-a-lifetime hazard.
It only takes once in a lifetime to die. There was the subway, too.
No, well, that doesn't count. I hadn't planned on riding it today.
But you had no reason not to ride it. That's the important thing. Just as you have no reason not to take a shower in the next hour.
Why shouldn't I?
A Miss Flynn who lives down the hall is now taking her shower and will leave a melting bar of pink soap on the pink tile of the bathroom floor. You would have slipped on it and suffered a sprained wrist.
Not fatal, huh?
No. Hardly in the same class with, let us say, a heavy flower pot pushed from a rooftop by a certain unstable old gentleman.
Well, when is that going to happen?
I thought you weren't interested.
I am very interested. When? Where?
Will you let me continue to protect you?
Well, now, just tell me one thing. What's in this for you?
Satisfaction. For a Valadusian Derg, the greatest thrill possible is to help another creature evade danger.
But isn't there something else you want out of this? Some trifle like my soul or rulership of the earth?
Nothing. To accept payment for protection would ruin the emotional experience. All I want out of life, all any Derg wants, is to protect someone from the dangers he cannot see, but which we can see all too well. We don't even expect gratitude.
What about the flower pot?
It'll be dropped at the corner of 10th Street and McAdams Boulevard at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
10th and McAdams. Where's that?
In Jersey City.
Well, now, I've never been to Jersey City in my life. Why warn me about that?
I don't know where you will or won't go. I merely perceive dangers to you wherever they may occur.
What should I do now?
Anything you wish. Just lead your normal life.
It started out well enough. I attended classes at Columbia, did homework, saw movies, went on dates, played table tennis and chess, all as before. At no time did I let on that I was under the protection of a Valadusian Derg. Even Charlie didn't notice it, though he had a pretty good excuse.
Boy, are you lucky. I got stuck in that elevator for 4 hours. Say, how come you walked? I never saw you volunteer to walk 5 flights before.
Oh, well, a little bird told me.
Oh, boy, I wish I... I wish I had a little bird like that.
Why don't you do something for that cold?
Why should I? What's it ever done for me?
Not even the Derg had warned me about Charlie's bad jokes in time. But he did his best. And once or twice a day, he'd come around and report.
Loose grading on West End Avenue between 66th and 67th Streets. Don't walk on it.
Of course, I wouldn't. Once I got used to it, it gave me quite a feeling of security. But the Derg soon became overzealous on my behalf. He began finding more and more dangers.
Look out for an overhanging sign on the Hotel Nacional.
Where, 48th Street?
Mexico City. Don't go to the hockey game tonight.
Where?
At Toronto. Look out for the Elm Street bus.
Philadelphia?
Omaha. Don't go surf riding today.
What? Surf riding? Where?
Papiti.
Now, just wait a minute. Do you plan on reporting every potential danger on Earth?
Oh, these are only a very few that you may be affected by.
In Mexico City, in Papiti? Why not confine yourself to the local picture? Greater New York, let's say.
Locale means nothing to me. I must protect you from everything.
Well, it was rather touching in a way, and there was nothing I could do about it. I simply had to discard from his reports the various dangers in places like Hoboken, Thailand, Kansas City, Angkor-Wat, Sarasota, and Paris. I concentrated pretty much on Manhattan. He did save me from a pretty nasty holdup on Cathedral Parkway and a 4-alarm fire. But he kept stepping up the pace.
Tainted food in Baker's cafeteria. Don't eat there tonight. Amsterdam bus 312 has bad brakes. Don't ride it. Mellon's tailor shop has a leaking gas line. Explosion due. Have your clothes dry cleaned elsewhere. Rabid mongrel on prowl between Riverside Drive and Central Park West. Take a taxi.
Soon, I was spending most of my time not doing things and avoiding places. Danger seemed to be lurking behind every lamppost waiting for me. I rather suspected the Derg of padding his report.
All my reports are perfectly genuine. If you don't believe me, try turning on your lights in the psychology class tomorrow.
Why?
Defective wiring.
Look, I don't doubt your warnings. I just don't think life was this dangerous before you came along.
Well, of course it wasn't. Surely you know that if you accept protection, you must accept the drawbacks of protection as well.
Drawbacks like what?
Protection begets the need of further protection. That is a universal constant. Before you met me, you were like everyone else, and you ran into such risks as the situation offered. But with my coming, your immediate environment has changed, and your position in it has changed, too.
Why?
Because it has me in it. It is well known that the avoidance of one danger opens the path to others.
Are you trying to tell me that my risks have increased because of your help?
It was unavoidable.
Why, you miserable extraterrestrial con man.
Now look.
All right. Thanks for everything. I'll see you on Mars or wherever you hang out.
You don't want any further protection?
You guessed it. Don't slam the door on your way out.
But what's wrong? Your risks have increased, but my capacity for detection is more than ample to cope with it. I'm happy to cope with it. So it still represents a net gain in protection for you.
Yeah, I know what happens next. My risks just keep on increasing, don't they?
Not at all. As far as accidents are concerned, you have reached the quantitative limit.
What does that mean?
It means that there will be no further increase in the number of accidents you must avoid.
Look, if you leave me alone, my original environment will return, won't it? And with it, my original risks?
Eventually. If you survive.
Fine, I'll take that chance.
You cannot afford to send me away tomorrow.
No, don't tell me. I'll avoid the accidents on my own.
I wasn't thinking of accidents.
What then?
I hardly know how to tell you. A gamper is after you.
Oh, again. A what? Now, what kind of a gag is this?
A gamper is a creature from my environment. I suppose he was attracted by your increased potentiality for avoiding risk due to my protection.
Now, look, you can take your gamper.
If he comes, try driving him off with mistletoe. Iron is often effective if bonded to copper.
Will you get
also.
out of here?
Are you sure?
Beat it. Blow. Scram. Get out. Go on.
All right. All right. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Are you gone? Are you really gone? Good riddance. What's that? Dirk, is that you? Hey, your motor's running. Dirk? What is it? What is that? What is that? Oh, it's the Gamper. Dirk, get me out of this. Dirk! Dirk, get me out! Dirk, come back! Dirk!
Did you call? Oh, the Gamper. Mistletoe. Wave it at the Gamper.
Where in blazes am I going to get mistletoe?
Iron copper, then.
Copper. Oh, I've got a paperweight on my desk.
The chair leg is iron. Touch it with the copper. Quick! You see? You need my protection. The Gamper almost got you.
Yes, it sure did.
You'll need some things. Wolfbane, amaranth, garlic, graveyard mold.
But the Gamper is gone.
Yes. However, the grailers remain, and you'll need safeguard against the leaps, the figs, and the melgarizer. I'll give you a list.
He gave me a list, and I went shopping. I ran into Charlie at the supermarket.
Hey, Bob! Where you been?
Wolfbane, amaranth, garlic. They must have garlic.
Well, sure, they got garlic over here. Oh. Well, I guess you know what I came in for.
Tissues.
What else?
Yeah, well, now let me see. Graveyard mold. You think they'd have it here?
Hey, boy, what's the matter with you? You look white as a ghost.
I'm white as a Gamper, or a grailer, or a leap, or a fig.
Well, what is that, jive talk?
Please, Charlie, don't bother me. I'm busy.
All right.
Who has the nearest graveyard that would be moldy this time of year? It was a game between these extraterrestrials, and I was in it. Some of them wanted to kill me, some to protect me. None of them cared for me, not even the Dirk. And the situation was all my fault. At the beginning, I had had the accumulated wisdom of the human race at my disposal. That tremendous and distinctive hatred of witches and ghosts, the irrational fear of alien life. For my adventure has been played out 1,000 times, and the story is told again and again, how a man dabbles in strange arts and summons up a spirit. By so doing, he attracts attention to himself, the worst thing of all. So I was welded inseparably to the Dirk, and the Dirk to me. Until yesterday, that is. Charlie came to my room to visit.
Hey, boy, how you been? I haven't seen you in class for a while. Oh, you mind if I hang up my coat?
No, don't. No, don't open the closet door.
Well, what's the matter? What's in there?
Nothing. Only that's the only way to hold off the figs, by keeping closet doors closed. The leaps are more menacing, but the eye of a toad seems to stop them. And the melgarizer is dangerous only in the full of the moon.
Only in the... Uh-huh. Well, Bob, it's been grand. Bye.
You are in danger.
What? Who? What again? What is it this time?
It is the Thrang who pursues us.
Us?
Yes, myself as well as you. For even a Dirg must run from risk and danger.
Well, is this Thrang particularly dangerous?
Very.
Well, what do I do? Snakeskin over the door? A pentagon? Burn incense? Anything?
None of these. The Thrang must be dealt with negatively by the avoidance of certain actions.
All right. What shouldn't I do?
You must not Lesnerize.
I must... Lesnerize? What's that?
Well, surely you know it's a simple, everyday human action.
Well, I probably know it under a different name. Explain.
Very well. To Lesnerize is to...
What?
It is here. The Thrang. The Thrang is here.
Dirk, where are you? What should I do?
This has me.
What should I do?
It has me. I'm going. The Thrang. Don't Lesnerize. Don't Lesnerize. Don't.
So I'm sitting tight now. There'll be an airplane crash in Burma next week, but it shouldn't affect me here in New York. And the figs certainly can't harm me. No, not with all my closet doors closed. No, the problem is Lesnerizing. I must not Lesnerize, absolutely not. If I can keep from Lesnerizing, everything will pass and the chase will move elsewhere. It must. All I have to do is wait them out. Trouble is, I don't have any idea what Lesnerizing might be. A common human action, the Derg said. Well, at the moment, I'm avoiding as many actions as possible. I've caught up on some back sleep and nothing's happened. So that's not Lesnerizing. I went out and bought food, cooked it, and ate it. That wasn't Lesnerizing. I'm telling you the story, and that isn't Lesnerizing. I'll get out of this yet. I will get out of it. I'm going to catch a nap now. I think I've caught Charlie's cold. I think I'm going to have to...
You have been listening to Protection by Robert Sheckley on X-1. X-1 is presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Survival Kit by Frederick Pohl. The story of Mooney, a smart but luckless man who had to scrounge while his friend Harse always made out well, just because he owned a survival kit. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Protection, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were William Redfield as Bob of the Final and Fatal Sneeze, Elliot Reed as his breezy pal Charlie, and William Keane as the foreseeing Derg. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Kenneth McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, At the Post by H.L. Gold.
When I come into the Blue Ribbon on 49th Street west of Broadway, I could tell right away nobody told Doc Hawkins about my misfortune. Doc, who ain't one really, writes a daily medical column for the Racing Form, and we're celebrating his being sprung from the alcoholic ward. He got one look at me, and he choked on a piece of gefilte fish.
What happened? What happened? Look at that. Clucker's become a character.
Now, lay off, Doc.
Look at that, a gray flannel suit, a black tie. Clucker, where is your purple and green check sports jacket? Where are your two-tone suede shoes? Why, you've become a character.
That was Zelda's idea. She wanted to make a gentleman out of him.
Wanted to? Why, you two kids got married just before they took my snakes away. Don't tell me you've fit already.
You don't know, Doc?
No, what happened?
Well, it was right after you tried to take the warts off the fire hydrant that Zelda started hearing voices. It got real bad.
How bad?
Well, she's at Glendale Center upstate. I just came back from visiting her.
Well, did the psychiatrist give you a diagnosis?
Yeah, I got it memorized. catatonia, dementia precox.
Oh, rough. Very rough. The outlook is never good in such cases.
Maybe they can't help her, but I will.
Now, Clocker, you're a race handicapper. You run the best tip sheet on Broadway. But people are not horses. You've got to think of your public. For instance, what's good at Hialeah, huh? My bar bill is about to be foreclosed, and I can use a long shot.
Those couch artists don't know what's wrong with Zelda. I do.
You do?
Well, almost. I'm so close I can hear the finish line camera clicking.
Well, now, that's very interesting. Perhaps we can collaborate on an article for the Psychiatric Journal.
All right, look. Look at these charts. Look, here.
Huh?
I use the same system I used to dope the races. Look, Zelda's got catatonia. She used to be a hoofer before we got married, and now she does time steps all day.
Stereotype movements are typical of catatonia.
You don't get it. She does time steps. The first thing you learn in hoofing, over and over. 10 or 15 hours a day. And she keeps talking like she's giving lessons to some jerk kid who can't get it straight. And I hear when these catatonics pull out, they don't remember much or maybe nothing.
Protective amnesia.
They work harder and longer at what they're doing than they ever did when they were regular citizens. And they don't get a red cent for it.
I beg your pardon?
I said they were getting stiffed. Anybody who works that hard ought to get paid.
I don't understand what you're getting at.
What are they knocking themselves out for if it's for free? Doc, I tell you, I miss that mouse. I gotta save her. She can't see or hear us, but she can sure see or hear something. And I'm gonna dope her.
Clarker, it's too much for you.
Too much for me, huh? Who was it said Warlock had turned into a dog in his third year? Who was it had 7 winners the opening day at Belmont? You take my word for it, Doc. I'll beat the schizophrenia handicap. I hadn't been paying much attention to my tip sheet while I was doping a catatonia dodge. I tell you, I missed Zelda. I missed the bobby pins on the floor and the nylon stuck on a shower rack, the toothpaste tube squeezed from the top. I had to get her back somehow. Next day, I took a cab and went out to that place. I sat in the room and watched her dance. Oh, it was something. Because Zelda was worth watching, even with her eyes blank and her feet shuffling through that simple time step.
Mr. Locke, visiting time is almost up.
All right. Zelda, listen, Zelda. How long can they take to learn a time step?
She can't hear you.
Look, kid, I don't know who these squares are that you're working for, but tell them if they take you, they got to take me, too. You hear? I had an idea now. I had a dope that Zelda was showing them how to dance, whoever they are. And the only way I could spring her was to find out who was controlling her and what they were after. The first step was to get them interested in me, in what I know about racing, doping horses. So I stood there next to Zelda, and I started to talk. Now, the first thing you got to figure is bloodlines. You take a horse, you got to know back maybe 4 or 5 generations on both sides. Then you got to know where the coat was foaled, what time of year, because all horses are 1 year old on the 1st of January. And there's confirmation, training. You take a horse with good bloodlines, break him in a spring on a hard training surface track, and the first thing you know, you got a horse with a shin splint. Or they may cover it up, but if you know it's there. I once knew a horse ran in Hialeah who was scared of flamingos.
What are you doing?
Had a fine record at Gulfstream and Bowie. But when he got down to Hialeah and got one look at the flamingos, he wouldn't run for beans.
Mr. Locke, are you all right?
Shut up, I'm
Mr.
busy.
Locke.
You bet on a horse that's scared of flamingos at Hialeah, and you're going to come in with your tail between your legs. I kept coming back every day. I'd just sit there next to Zelda while she did a time step, and I'd talk about horses, over and over. And then finally, I started to hear voices.
Clocker! Clocker! This way, Clocker, come this way. This way, Clocker. Come on now, come with me.
Like it was a fog, I could see the attendant in his white coat, asking me questions, and I couldn't hear him. I knew I just kept on talking about the horses. And then suddenly I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. I was in a big square, and the buildings looked like the new Roosevelt Raceway, all modern. Or maybe like the World's Fair. There were trees and statues, and there were hundreds of people standing around, and they all looked scared. There was a little man with bifocals and a vest with pins and needles in it standing next to me. He looked scared. but I knew it had worked. I was on my way to Zelda.
How did I get here? Excuse me, mister. How did I get here?
I don't know.
I can't take time for pleasure trips. I've got a customer coming in tomorrow for a fitting. She'll positively murder me if her dress isn't ready.
She can't murder you. Not anymore.
You mean we're dead?
Don't ask me, but I don't think you're dead. That much I can tell you. Some of the people in the crowd were complaining they had families to take care of, while others were worried about leaving their businesses. And they all grew quiet when a man climbed up on a big platform in front. He was a very tall and dignified guy, and he had formal clothes and a white beard like the chief mourner at a politician's funeral.
Ladies and gentlemen, please feel at ease. You are not in any danger. No harm will come to you. If you will listen carefully to this orientation lecture, you will know where you are and why.
What is it? I don't understand.
It's a pitch.
Friends, I know you are puzzled at all this. Now let me explain. You've been chosen, yes, carefully screened and selected, to help us in what is undoubtedly the greatest cause of all history. You will learn more about it as we work together in this vast and noble experiment.
What experiment? What is it?
I got it picked. This is a pitch. These guys are out for something. Smells like a con.
Let me state this in its simplest terms. Now, you know that there are billions of stars in the universe and that the stars have planets. A good many of these planets are inhabited. In almost all instances, the dominant form of life is quite different from yours. I am not of your planet or solar system. I am not formed as you see me. My true appearance would seem to be rather confusing to human eyes.
Nuts, get to the point.
The truth is, we are not here, and neither are you. Here is a projection of thought, a hypothetical point in space, a place that exists only by mental force. Actually, our bodies are on our own respective planets.
What's he saying? What does he mean?
Wait, he'll give us the convincer after the build-up.
Our civilization is considerably older than yours. For many of your centuries, we have explored the universe both physically and telepathically, and during this exploration, we discovered your planet. We tried to establish communication, but there were grave difficulties. And it was the time of your dark ages. And I'm sorry to report that those people we did make contact with were generally burned at the stake.
Here it comes. He's getting ready to slip us the sting.
Oh, I don't think you ought to say a thing like that about a fine, decent gentleman. He's obviously very sincere.
The problem we face is that the human race is doomed. The history of your race is a record of incessant wars, each more devastating than the last. And now, finally, man has chained the power of worldwide destruction. The next war, or the one after that, will unquestionably be the end not only of civilization, but of humanity, perhaps even of your entire planet. Then, why have we brought you here? Because man, in spite of his suicidal blunders, is a magnificent race. He must not vanish without leaving a complete record of his achievements. Now, this is the task we must work together on. Each of you has a skill, a talent, a special knowledge we need for the immense record we're compiling. Every area of human society must be covered. And so we need you urgently. Your data will become part of an imperishable social document that shall exist untold eons after mankind has vanished.
Oh, he had a slick con. He had that crowd in the palm of his hand like a small-time grifter selling pearl necklaces on 6th Avenue. They all cheered. They were all flattered to think that they were joining in this vast project to make a record of the human race. After a while, they broke us up into divisions, and I got herded into a building marked Sports and Rackets. They took my name and my occupation like I was applying for unemployment insurance.
Now, here's our problem, Mr. Locke. We're making two kinds of perpetual records. One is written, more precisely, microscribed. The other is a wonderfully exact duplicate of your cerebral pattern. In more durable material than brain matter, of course.
Of course.
The substance we use in place of brain cells absorbs memory quite slowly. But you'll be happy to know that the impression once made can never be lost or erased.
Delighted, tickled to pieces.
I knew you would be. Well, let's proceed, shall we? First, a basic description of horse racing.
I started telling them about horse racing, but they held me down to one sentence. They said I had to repeat it over and over so that recording thing could get it. They had a picture of my body back on Earth lying in a bed in a hospital just saying that one sentence over and over again.
Well, that's enough for today. Isn't it amazing? We have a more detailed record of human society than man himself ever had. Your life, my life, the life of this Zelda, whom you came here to rescue, all are trivial, for we must all die eventually. But the project will last eternally.
You're telling me you know what I'm here for?
To secure the return of your wife. I would naturally be aware that you'd submitted yourself to our control voluntarily. It was in your file that was sent to me by admissions.
Then why did you let me in?
Because, my dear friend, we also...
Leave out the friend pitch. I'm here on business.
As you wish. We let you in, as you express it, because you have knowledge that we should include in our archives. We hoped you'd recognize the merit and scope of our undertaking. Most people do once they're told.
Zelda, too?
Oh, yes. Yes, Zelda's extremely cooperative, quite convinced. Would you like to see her?
Yeah, sure I would.
Well, that can be arranged. I'll call the Arts and Entertainment section and arrange a meeting.
Zelda, baby.
Clocker.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, hello, Clocker.
Aren't you glad to see me? I spent months and shot every dime I've got just to find you.
For sure I'm glad to see you, hon, but I can't waste any time. This work is so important.
I want to talk to you. That con artist with the white beard
Oh, isn't he wonderful, Clocker? Aren't they all wonderful? Regular scientists devoting their whole lives to this terrific cause.
What's so wonderful about that?
They could let the Earth go boom. It wouldn't mean a thing to them. Everybody wiped out, just like there never were any people. Not even as much record of us as the dinosaurs. Gee, wouldn't that make you feel simply awful?
I wouldn't feel a thing. All I'm worried about is us, baby. Who cares about the rest of the world doing a disappearing act?
I do, and so do they. They aren't selfish like some people I could mention.
Selfish? You're darn right I am. Zelda, listen. I'm selfish because I got a wife and I'm nuts about her and I want her back.
I have to help out on this project. It's the least I can do for history.
History? What did history ever do for us? Go turn in your time card, baby. Tell them you got a date with me back on Earth.
No, this is my job as much as theirs. More even. They don't keep anybody here against their will. I'm staying because I want to, Clocker.
But, honey...
Excuse me, I've got to get back. I'm teaching them the soft shoe now.
Are you satisfied now, Mr. Locke?
Listen, take away the doom push and this racket folds. Listen, suppose you're all square. Suppose you're leveling. You're knocking yourself out because your guess is we're going to commit suicide.
But is there any doubt of it? Do you honestly believe the Holocaust can be averted?
I think it can be stopped, yeah. Listen, between these catatonics and me, we could tell them what it's all about. I notice you got people from all over the world here. They get along fine because they have a job to do and don't have time to hate each other. Well, it could be like that back on Earth.
Mr. Locke, we have experimented in the manner you suggest, but a human psychological mechanism defeated us.
Yeah? What was that?
Protective amnesia. They completely and absolutely forgot everything they'd learned here.
Well, what are the odds on me remembering?
Well, you are our first volunteer.
Look, I'll give you a deal. You let me out, and maybe I'll be the first case that didn't get amnesia, and I can tell the world all about this. I'll come back if I lame out. You can pick me up any time you want. But if I make headway, you gotta let Zelda go, too.
It's a very reasonable proposition. We'll lift our control, Mr. Locke, for a suitable time. If you can arouse a measurable opposition to racial suicide, measurable, mind you, then we agree to release your wife and revise our policy completely.
I came to at Glendale. It took me about 2 weeks to convince them that I was all right again. But I had to convince the world that they were throwing a race and that they needed a saliva test. So I started to write it all out in my tip sheet, in and around the horses. Around that time, I ran into Doc.
Clarker, my boy, you've no idea how anxious we were about you. But you're looking fit, I'm glad to say.
Thanks. I wish I could say the same about you and the rest of the world.
No need to worry about us. We'll muddle along somehow.
You think so, huh?
I'm glad to see you've got your tip sheet going again. As long as the bobtails run, who cares what happens to anything else?
Of course, nobody listened to me. I had posters printed telling everybody. I hired sandwich men to walk through the city. I made speeches in Columbus Circle. I told everybody doomsday was near. I sent letters to Congress, to the UN, editors of newspapers. Nobody paid any attention. I sneaked into the balcony of the General Assembly and tried to shout a speech, and they threw me out, very politely. I wrote the whole thing up for a magazine, and they printed it and sent me a check and told me if I had any more fiction, they'd be glad to run it. They kept trying to tell everybody the truth about the catatonics. We ought to go to the hospitals and get ourselves let in and have the aliens take over and show us where we're going. But nobody would listen. And then finally, I went back out to Glendale.
Oh, Mr. Locke, we were wondering when you'd come visit your wife. You been away?
I want my old room back.
But you're perfectly normal.
Give me half hour alone, and you'll be glad to give me my room. Well, here I am back again.
Oh, Mr. Locke.
Okay, I'll give you all the rest of the dope on racing. You won't have any trouble with me.
Then you're convinced you failed.
I'm no dummy. I know when I'm licked.
So do we, Mr. Locke. Naturally, you have no way of detecting the effect you've had. We do. The result is that because of your experiment, we're gladly revising our policy.
Huh? Is this a rib? Nobody listened to me.
Oh, but they did. Visits to catatonics have increased considerably. When the visitors are alone with our human associates, they tentatively follow the directions you gave them in your article. Not all do, to be sure. Only those who feel as strongly about being with their loved ones as you do about your wife. We've accepted 4 voluntary applicants.
You mean I made it?
That's right. Before long, we shall have to increase our staff as the numbers of voluntary applicants increases geometrically, and then we'll be able to release the first group to go back and carry the message. Whenever you care to, Mr. Locke, you and your wife are free to leave.
Okay, but I'll tell you what. I owe you plenty. I'll help make that record before I go. I'll teach you how to dope the horses. Is that what you want?
Why, yes.
All right, then let's go. The quicker we get started, the quicker we can get back.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features A Touch of E-Flat by Joe Gibson, a story with a warning. Never let anyone point any weapon at you, even something as harmless-looking as a water pistol. It may be a cooling gun. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you At the Post, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by H.L. Gold and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Frank Maxwell as the clocker, and Thomas as his time-steppin' wife, Zelda, Arnold Moss as the otherworldly one, John Griggs as the doc who wasn't one, really, and Sam Raskin as the confused little tailor with his mouth full of pins. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Kenneth McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production.
This is Nightline, your tie line to the world, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Tonight, a visit to worlds strangely different from ours, the world of the future, the world of X-1. Now, here is the future, X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, ShockTroop. But first, hear this. Saturday, November 30th. An overflow crowd is expected to jam Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia for the 58th contest in a series that each year brings to a climax the greatest rivalry in college football. Saturday, November 30th. Army versus Navy. And you have a seat on the 50-yard line as Monitor brings you this gridiron. Mel Allen and Al Helfer will describe all the action, the excitement, the color of the game, as Army pits its bruising running attack against Navy's rugged defense and expert passing. You and your family won't want to miss the big Army-Navy football game, Saturday, November 30th, on Monitor. And you'll want to stay with Monitor for a weekend of sparkling and diversified entertainment. Celebrities, music, features, news, and sports. They're all on Monitor all weekend long. So start your weekend right with Monitor on Friday night and stay with Monitor all weekend long over most of these same NBC radio stations. And now, X-1 and tonight's story, ShockTroop.
In all his 7 major campaigns, Commander Zerem Lassen had never faced anything like this. First, there was the heat, agonizing, insufferable heat. Then there were the jolts, the convulsions. But most unbearable of all was the cross pulse, the interminable, monotonous thump-thump of the cross pulse.
Come in. Hello, Perrock. Close the bulkhead. This heat's driving me mad.
Zarium, I think we ought to abandon this project.
Abandon?
As chief psychotechnician, I recommend it.
Oh? On what do you base this?
This macroorganism is unlike anything we've ever tried to colonize before. It's much too complicated.
Complicated? Perrock, I've colonized life forms on 7 other worlds, and each time I've been advised to turn back.
I know your record, Zarim, but this creature is different.
How?
Well, for one thing, it has a highly organized psychoelectric system. The shock waves are fantastic. I've already lost 3 technicians.
These are shock troops. They know the risk.
And for another
Perrock,
thing...
you're a fine scientist, but you're no leader of troops. This creature we've invaded will be subdued and brought under positive permanent control. We will achieve thermobiological conditioning to reduce the heat. We will achieve damping to muffle the crossbeat. And we will establish neuromuscular controls. And we will do all these things because I say we will. Now come along. We'll inspect the tunnels. Ready?
Yes. I'll open the bulkhead.
Feel that heat.
Well, the thermo crews are doing everything they can to pull oxygen from the separators.
Tell them to work faster. What's the status of the control panel?
I'll see. Mandor, sir, what's the status of the control panel?
We've tapped into motor fibers 1 through 46, Chief. We'll be ready for the central selector hookup very soon.
What about optical auditory intercept?
We're still trying to tap into the subject's visual system, Commander. The screens are set up, but we haven't been able to run a line from the main circuit.
Why not?
The charge in the main trunks is too potent, sir. Our instruments won't take the surges of current.
Then install transformers or resistances. Now get it down.
But, sir, 2 crews working in this heat with that noise.
I don't care about the heat or the noise. It is absolutely essential that we hook up visual intercept. I want you to...
Convulsions!
Hit the stanchions! Hang on!
It's passed.
I've never seen them quite this bad. How do you suppose causes them?
I don't know. I suspect they're reflex actions.
Sir?
What?
Do you suppose this creature knows we're inside it?
Ceaselessly, the shock troops worked inside the host creature, burrowing through capillaries, tapping into nerves, trying desperately to intercept the intelligence and sensations so they might bring it under control. Oxygen was pulled from the separators to cool the tunnels where Commander Lassen's troops worked.
Yes?
Sir, we phased the interior feedback. We're ready to try for an image on the visual screens.
Excellent.
What about vocal auditory?
Completely phased. We haven't broken the speech code yet, but all sounds are clearly audible.
Blast that crossbeat. Can't the crews do something to muffle it?
We're trying. We don't dare go into the main arteries, not yet at least.
Can't they calcify?
They're trying, Zerim. We've got calcification crews working like demons trying to harden the central blood vessels.
Very well. Lieutenant, is the screen ready?
Yes, sir. Does the commander wish to monitor himself?
Yes. These are standard controls, I assume?
Yes, sir. Focus is this knob. Brightness control is at the right.
Very good. Now, switch on, and we'll see if we can see what this creature sees. A little more focus.
Something's coming through.
It isn't a clear enough image. Bring up the contrast. There.
Well?
It appears that our host is in an enclosed space of some sort. From the orderly flow of articles across the screen, I would say it was moving aimlessly. As an item for resting on, it appears. In the background, a blurred pattern of light and dark stripes. Now, let's hear the auditory reception. May as well get the decoding section working on it.
I'll switch it on, sir. The creature doesn't seem to be vocalizing.
Now, what's the noise?
I believe that's a respiratory sound, sir, made by the creature's oxygen plant.
Well, try to eliminate it. Filter it out.
Yes, sir.
Doc, I tell you, I'm sick.
It's vocalizing.
I'm not... not trying to pull anything, Doc. There's something wrong inside me. Honest. Doc, please.
Try to break down the pattern. I want to know what the creature is communicating.
Yes, sir.
Well, Perrock, do you still think we should turn back?
We've tapped into the creature's communication system, Zerim. I think controlling it is going to be another matter.
We'll return to X-1 and ShockTroop in just a moment. But first... Now back to X-1 and ShockTroop.
Inside the subject, the work continued hour after hour, day after day. Inside the control room, Commander Lassen was haggard and weary. Outside, the crews labored in the tunnels, calcifying blood vessels, tapping into sensory nerves, tying circuits across sympathetic nerve fibers, and still no positive control.
Zerim?
Oh, Perrock, what's happening?
Well, we're making slow progress, Zerim. Between the heat and the cross pulse, the men are beginning to crack up. They need a rest.
Anyone caught loafing on the job will be fed into the disposal units. Those are my orders.
Isn't that a bit hard?
Are you questioning my authority?
Yes, I think you've been working too hard.
I'll have you... Listen.
What?
The silence. They've done it. Modification section has muffled the crossbeat.
You're right.
What a relief. Come on, let's try the audiovisual again. Maybe we'll be able to hear something now.
There's a picture coming in.
It's the same picture. Blurry, barred pattern. Objects for sitting and reclining. Switch on the auditory.
Right. It's vocalizing.
Listen.
I guess I didn't. It happened all of a sudden. This pain in my heart. Like it slowed down. I'm sick. There's something wrong with me.
If only decoding would crack the speech pattern so we knew what it was saying.
There seems to be another macroorganism in the room with it. Dressed in white, it seems.
Yes, I see.
I'm not faking, Doctor. You gotta do something.
I want the speech pattern given number one priority. No time for... That's condition red.
Commander, the vein is ruptured in Tunnel C. There's a leukocyte breakthrough.
Get the guns. I want a coagulant crew in there at once.
There are hundreds of the monsters, Commander. Shall we seal off the tunnel?
And lose weeks of calcifying? Come on, we'll try to coagulate.
The commander joined the rush of frenzied emergency troops rushing into the corridor. Ahead, crews were lugging hand sterilizers and broad-spectrum coagulators. Inside the tunnel, the scene was bedlam. There was a break in the wall, hemorrhaging profusely. Crewmen waded knee-deep in the nauseous sea of thrombin. Red corpuscles knocked them off balance. Every so often, a sickening gray leukocyte would rear up and embrace a crewman in a grip of acid death.
We'll have to retreat. The thrombin's rising. Lieutenant, give the order to fall back and seal off the tunnel.
Yes, sir. Fall back! Seal the tube! Fall back!
The struggle continued. New tunnels were formed. More nerves tied into central control. Veins and arteries calcified. The heat reduced to a livable temperature. Slowly, the morale of the shock troops inched higher, and Commander Lassen relaxed and grew more amiable.
Well, Perrick, ready for the big event?
Yes, my crew is standing by.
Good. We'll try an auditory visual intercept first, and then we'll attempt to control a few responses.
We've tapped into the creature's hearing circuit now so that we can hear what it hears as well as what it says.
Excellent. Switch on the screen. It's coming in now. The creature is still in the same room, alone, evidently. Yeah, it seems to be writing a message of some sort. Oh, wait. It's talking.
My appeal was turned down, and this is it.
Now, let's try a motor response. Lieutenant Mander.
Sir?
Which circuit controls the organism's right extremity?
This one, sir.
Are all circuits properly insulated against electrical surge?
Up to 1 million dynarcs, Commander.
Now, we've never encountered anything higher. That should be safe enough. And here goes. I'll try a simple contraction. It worked! The right limb contracted. Perrick, it worked. We've established control.
You're to be congratulated, Commander.
Thank you. Switch on auditory visual again. Yeah. The creature is still writing.
Actually, I don't mind too much. The doctors have discovered that I have a serious condition of the blood vessels and heart. They call it sclerosis. And I've been feeling awful lately. So I'm not too afraid of what's coming. I'll think of you. Think of me. Love, Sam.
The message is concluded. Let's try another motor response. I'm going to manipulate the creature's legs now to make it locomote toward the barred pattern. Ready?
Ready, sir.
It's moving. Excellent, excellent. Perrick, have the crews clean up the remaining circuits. Make absolutely certain that the electrical hazard is reduced to a minimum. I can't afford to lose any more troops. Now, what about the speech code?
Decoding thinks they may break it any moment now.
I'll keep them working. Give the troops extra rations and pay and commend them for a good job. If all goes well, we'll send for colonists within a week.
Exactly 1 week later, Commander Lassen, seated in a compartment that was now fully air-conditioned, silent, and filled with soft Galvaresian music, radioed to the Commissioner of Colonization.
So everything is ready. With the exception of the speech code, we have complete primary control of all circuits. We'll expect first 10,000 colonists as soon as transport can be arranged. Lassen, I'll send that at once. Come in. What is it, Perrick?
I don't know. There are changes in the intercept screens.
What kind of changes?
Well, for one thing, there's a temperature drop in the upper quadrant of the creature. Then it seems to be changing its surroundings.
I'll come out and have a look.
There, you see? There are other macro creatures in the room now. There. One of them has a black robe.
Well, what's so alarming?
The speech pattern of the black robe creature is unlike anything we've ever heard before.
Turn on auditory intercept. Strange.
Look at the temperature drop up there.
Let me try touching the creature's cranial region. That explains the temperature drop. The mat of thread-like growth has been entirely removed.
Look, the black-robed one has moved away. Now another creature approaches.
Our host entity is being seated. Now, bands are being placed on its wrists and legs. That's interesting.
I don't like it.
What are you worried about?
I don't know. It frightens me.
Look. Now a dome-like object is being lowered over the creature's head, a great cupola.
It's cutting out the light.
Turn up the auditory.
I don't want to die, Warden. Not in the electric chair.
I wish we knew the speech code. Well, another few days and we'll have it broken. Then, total victory will be ours. Total victory.
What's happening now, Zarim?
I don't know. Everything is quiet. The creature is waiting in the dark for something to happen, apparently. I wonder what.
Fred Collins again. I'll have a word about our cast on X-1 in a moment. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Galaxy Magazine science editor Willie Lay discusses medical problems of space travel in the current issue of Galaxy. Read Willie Lay's article as well as the many thought-provoking stories similar to tonight's tale of fiction based on facts of the future. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you ShockTroop, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Daniel Gallion and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Bernard Lenrow as Commander Lassen, Edwin Cooper as Perrock, John Thomas as Mandor, Ralph Camargo as Sam, and Roger DeKoven was the narrator. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Boutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Walter O'Keefe is your guide to new worlds of nighttime entertainment on Nightline, tonight over most of these NBC radio stations.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, DoubleDare. But first, hear this. How's the weather in your part of the country? How'd you like to spend an evening basking under warm tropic breezes in the sound of a gently rolling surf? Well, that's the setting in which you'll find yourself Friday night, as Monitor, broadcasting from spectacular Miami Beach, introduces you to the beauty and glamour of Florida and to the celebrities who make this resort area their winter headquarters. On Saturday and Sunday, Monitor will capture the spirit of Christmas season in music and song, as great choirs from all over the country and from foreign lands join in the singing of Yuletide carols. There'll be reports on Christmas preparations in Bethlehem, West Germany, and Antarctica. Alfred Hitchcock, Eartha Kitt, Henry Fonda, and Roberta Sherwood are among the celebrities who will be visiting Monitor this pre-Christmas holiday. So start your weekend right with Monitor on Friday night, and stay with Monitor all weekend long for celebrities, music, features, news, and sports over most of these same NBC radio stations. Now, X minus 1. And tonight's story, DoubleDare.
Our ship sat down on the planet Domerang right on schedule. Kermidge and I stood at the viewport and watched the big Domerangi official cross the field to our landing ramp. He was dressed in a bright yellow tunic, green-gray buskins, and was wearing a glittering jeweled diadem. He was walking in that ponderous way those people always walk. And it seemed like a long time before he actually reached the ramp and climbed into the ship.
Welcome aboard. Greetings, gentlemen. I see you have come through the trip in fine shape. My name is Plovash. I'm your liaison while you are with us.
My name's Marner. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Kemmeridge. Well, what happens now, Plovash? You have landed at a space port just outside our capital. I have come to take you to your quarters. We are providing you the finest accommodations our planet can offer. We want your working conditions to be of the best.
Glad to hear it.
The actual test will begin as soon as you wish. May I offer you good luck?
Oh, we won't need it. It's not a matter of luck at all. It's brains. Brains and sweat.
Very well. This is what you are here to prove. It ought to be amusing in any case, whatever the outcome may be.
The whole weird deal had begun back on Earth. And it started where most arguments like this start, in a bar. Kemmeridge and I are top engineers back home, and when this visiting Domerangi made a few cracks about our civilization being second-rate in technology, we made a few choice remarks about his own technology. Well, the thing got to the news agencies and created quite a stir. It finally led to a regular interplanetary controversy over who had the best technical brains, Earthmen or Domerangi. So, here we were, Kemmeridge and I, sitting in an alien hotel room millions of miles from home, staring glumly at the walls.
Well, we're here, Marner. We're here. And we're going to show them up and go home rich and famous. You got that?
Well, I hope we can show them.
Well, we've got to. Between the two of us, we can match anything they throw at us. Well, can't we?
Sure we can.
Just look at this door mechanism, for instance. A simple cybernetic mechanism.
Yeah. Ordinary gadget. Not nearly as efficient as our kind, either.
That's just the point. Apparently, these Domorangi aren't half the sharks they think they are. We said we could duplicate anything they showed us, right?
Yeah. And they've got two of their engineers on Earth trying the same stunt.
Okay, so if our boys stick them and we dope out everything they throw at us here, we've won. The State Department's counting on our versatility, Marner. That's all we need. Versatility, cleverness, and hard work. We'll beat those silly-looking pants right off them.
Cambridge always did remind me of a football coach talking to his players at halftime. But at the moment, I was glad of it. I needed reassurance, and his own confidence was infectious. I cheered up, and by the next morning, we were ready to begin our part of the test. Plorvash came to see us again. Well, good morning, Plorvash.
Good morning, gentlemen. According to agreement, we have equipped our most modern laboratory for you. We will give you 2 preliminary problems. When you have dealt with them, if you can deal with them, we will give you a 3rd problem.
And if we fail on any of them?
Why, then we shall have proved our point.
Fair enough. But suppose we deal with all 3, Plorvash. How do we win this thing? Do we just go on with your projects until we miss?
Oh, no. According to the agreement between our governments, the test is limited to 3 problems only. The same is true for our team on your planet. We consider that if you do indeed complete all 3 projects, you will have demonstrated your ability.
I don't like the way you say that. What's up your sleeve?
Sleeve? I do not understand the idiom.
Never mind. Doesn't make any difference anyway. Just let's get started and prove our point.
Yes. I myself am most anxious to observe your attempts.
We return to X-1 and DoubleDare in just a moment. Now back to X-1 and DoubleDare.
The lab that was to be our workshop until we won or lost this contest was a sumptuous place. The sort of research setup a sane engineer never even bothers to dream about. We stood there admiring it, Cambridge and I, while Plorvash waited for one of us to say something.
Well, we're impressed.
Man, it won't be hard to pull off miracles in a lab like this. You're making it easy for us, Plorvash.
We are honest people. If you fail, it cannot be blamed on poor working conditions.
Okay. When do we start?
At once. Observe your first test.
What, that little plastic bottle?
The contents. It is a depilator. A bit rubbed on each cheek, and you do not need shave your beard for a week's time. Here is the bottle. Duplicate the product.
But we're engineers, not chemists.
Never mind, Marner, never mind. Okay, Plorvash, that's the first project. Give us the second at the same time. That way we'll each have one to work on.
2 projects at once? Very well, gentlemen, as you wish. The second is a trap for small house pests.
Oh, like our mouse trap, huh?
Oh, I do not know your mouse trap. But this is a most ingenious device. Our house pests are color sensitive, and this trap flashes colors as a lure. To catch vorks, we use this. For flames, we activate this device. And so on. Well, as you can see, it is most versatile. We have supplied you with an ample number of vermin of different sorts. They are in cages there at the rear of the laboratory. I believe you have everything else you need.
You mean this is all?
Duplicate these 2 products, if you can.
Okay. And we'll let you know the moment we finish.
Yes. Do that.
I didn't like the way he looked when he said that. There was a catch to all this somewhere, but I didn't have time to think about where it might be. Cambridge and I went to work on our project at once. It wasn't nearly as hard as it should have been. Within 4 days, we summoned Plorvash back to the lab.
Do you mean to say you have finished already?
Naturally. Stay where you are, Plorvash. I want to show you something. All right, Cambridge, activate the trap.
Check.
All right, stand back. I'm going to open the cages.
Oh, no, don't. Those vermin, they'll be everywhere.
Too late. Here they come.
Oh, but you're mad. But they'll be everywhere. Close that door.
Stand where you are and watch. You see? See that?
But this is impossible. All running to the same place.
Our trap. Look at that. They're in. Every last one of them.
Remarkable.
Yeah. We've improved on your model. We've built a better trap. Your model only deals with one species at a time. Ours handles every variety.
It really is rather surprising.
I suppose now you want to know about the depilator.
That was easy, you know. With the equipment you gave us, chemical analysis is a snap. But I'm afraid we've improved on the original model here, too.
You have? In what way?
But used at the proper strength, this depilatory of ours can last indefinitely. The effect seems to be permanent.
Indeed. This is a fairly impressive performance, gentlemen. You may be interested to know that your counterparts on Earth have also passed their first 2 tests successfully.
Oh, well, good for them. So, it all depends on the 3rd test, then, huh?
It does indeed. Shall we have that one now?
Why waste time? Is that it? That thing on rollers that you've got covered up back there?
Yes. Permit me to remove that cover.
A machine of some kind. I recognize a type of piston valve, relays, tubes, rods.
Let me plug it in for you. Here's the outlet. Now, I press the starting button. So.
What does it do?
Suppose you remove the plug from the outlet.
All right.
There. Hey, it's still going.
Gentlemen, this is our power source. We use it for transportation and similar things. Duplicate it. This is your 3rd problem.
Well, we'll give it a try.
I shall be most interested in the results. Most interested. Good day.
Cheers. Well, Cambridge, the machine's still going.
Yeah, I see. I wonder, can we build a perpetual motion machine?
Well, it was a challenge, all right. A greater challenge than either of us had anticipated in our wildest dreams. Our heads reeled with the enormity of the ideas. But we worked and worked. I don't even know how long it was, but I think it was about 3 weeks. Finally, we summoned Plorvash, and he came into the laboratory to see our model and his side by side, both humming away with no plugs in the wall.
There it is.
You have actually done it?
Yes. It's been running a week now, and it shows no signs of slowing down.
It actually works, but how?
A complex hyperspace function. We're making a full report, of course. I hope you realize this is quite a stunt in gravology.
We didn't think we could do it until we had to, so we did.
I didn't think you could do it either. This little box on our model, have you examined it yet?
No, that nearly threw us. Apparently it's tightly sealed. We didn't waste time getting it open. We bypassed that. But what is the darn thing anyway?
That, gentlemen, is our power source.
Your what?
A photoelectric amplifier that should keep the model running for, another 2 weeks. Then
what?
Don't you see? We do not have a perpetual motion machine. We have hoaxed you into inventing one for us.
What?
We didn't really think you could. It took our best minds to rig up a model convincing enough to fool you.
Well, I'll be...
That does it. That invalidates the whole agreement. Well, now that we're through, we'll take our machine and go back to Earth.
I am afraid that is not possible.
What?
By a statute in effect here for more than 700 years, any research done in a government lab is automatically the property of the Domerangi government. I am sorry, But I shall have to confiscate your project, gentlemen.
We'll see about that.
Furthermore, we are forced to confiscate you yourselves. We need you to instruct us on how to build these machines.
Sorvash, Earth won't let you pull a trick like that. This is cause for war.
I doubt it. Why should a terrible war come about for the custody of 2 men?
I demand to see our consul.
Of course. That is your right, I suppose. I will arrange it.
Well, there it was. Now that it was too late, I knew what the cause of my uneasy feeling was. The consul from Earth was a white-haired, sturdy gentleman with a ruddy face and a suave manner. He came to see us in our hotel room that same evening.
Now, please, rest assured we shall make every effort to extricate you. Do you realize what immense scientific prestige you've given to Earth?
Fat lot of good that does us now.
Well, authorities on Earth have kept me informed on the progress of the 2 Domorangi. They got through the first 2 projects as easily as you 2 did.
We already know that. What of it?
Well, now, this is the delicate part of the whole affair. I hate to put it into words, but in fact, the people on the Earth end of this deal had much the same idea as the Domorangi.
You mean another double cross? They put them to work on perpetual motion, too?
No, not quite. They rigged up a phony anti-gravity machine and told them to duplicate it.
Good night. What happened?
Nothing yet. I'm told they're working on it very hard. Sooner or later, if they're at all as clever as you 2, perhaps they'll hit on it. You'll just have to be patient and sweat it out until they do, and we can make an even exchange.
Well, of all the cockeyed situations, you mean we have to wait until they invent anti-gravity?
Well, that's the general idea. In the meanwhile, as I say, I will insist that you be shown every courtesy here on Domrang.
Well, they may never discover a workable anti-gravity. Then what happens to us?
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Minor.
Yeah?
You know anything about tensor applications and gravitational fields?
What are you driving at?
I'm thinking of the ideal lab setup they gave us. Do you think those 2 Domorangi on Earth would mind taking credit for someone else's anti-gravity theory if they were approached properly?
Hey, that's right. They must be as anxious to get home as we are.
Say, what in the world are you talking about?
Consul, would you be above a bit of smuggling, diplomatic immunity and all that?
Well, now, I don't know.
We build the anti-gravity machine. You smuggle it to Earth and slip it to the Domorangi. Then use it as a talking point for a trade. Well, what do you say?
Well, I admit, it does seem the only way out. Very well, gentlemen, I'll do my very best. But there seems to be just one hitch.
What's that?
You still have to invent that anti-gravity machine.
Oh, we'll invent it all right, because you see, we have to. Come on, Cambridge. Let's get to work.
Fred Collins again. I'll have another word about X-1 in just a moment.
Is your head buzzing with the feverish, stuffed-up feeling of a cold? Here's how to get relief.
Every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Millions more take bromoquinine. Every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Bromoquinine.
More people have taken more bromoquinine cold tablets for more complete relief than any other cold tablet ever sold. Because bromoquinine is the only cold tablet sold with wonder-working quinine, nature's own miracle drug, and 5 other medicines, health-fortified with vitamin C. Science has never found a real substitute for quinine. It helps bromoquinine do more. Bromoquinine works to relieve stopped-up nose, body aches, fever, irregularity, blues, and headache, even of virus colds. Remember,
every second someone takes it for the miseries of a cold. Millions more take bromoquinine.
Get bromoquinine brand cold tablets.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Galaxy Magazine's science editor, Willie Lay, discusses medical problems of space travel in the current issue of Galaxy. Read Willie Lay's article as well as the many thought-provoking stories similar to tonight's tale of fiction based on facts of the future. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today.
Tonight, X-1 has brought you DoubleDare, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Robert Silverberg and adapted for radio by William Welch. Featured in our cast were Ralph Camargo as Marner, Ivor Francis as Cambridge, Michael Ingram as Plorvash, and Harvey Hayes as the Consul. This is Fred Collins speaking.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
These stories of the future, adventures in which in a million Broadcasting Company presents
X-1.
PrimeDifference. But first, hear this.
This is Bill Goodwin. You know, someone once said humor is the true democracy. And that's why we Americans can smile when we tell the stories of the legendary heroes who helped to build our country's great institutions and industries, like transcontinental transportation. Ever hear of Windwagon Smith? Well, in the early pioneering days, most of the traveling was done by ox team, and if folks covered 15 miles a day, they were doing good. That's about the time Windwagon Smith showed up with his Prairie Clipper. The Clipper was a wagon without any animals to pull it, but with a sail sticking up from the middle of the wagon. When the wind caught the sail, the wagon took off, and that's where Windwagon Smith got his name. He figured he might be able to cover as much as 70 miles a day with the Clipper, and folks began to figure it might be a good thing when Windwagon pointed out how fast the country was growing and how more transportation was needed to haul people and goods. Then he invited the United States Secretaries of War and the Navy to ride on the Clipper's maiden voyage. But disaster struck. The Clipper got out of control, the Secretary of War rolled out, and the Secretary of the Navy landed in a cactus patch. But Windwagon and the Clipper kept going and never stopped. As transportation grew in America, people all over the country claimed to have seen Windwagon Smith. He was in the pilot house of the first steamboat to sail up the Yellowstone. He held the Golden Spike when the first transcontinental railroad was completed. And when the first transcontinental plane roared out of Kansas City, it was Windwagon Smith, the spirit of American transportation, who waved the pilot on his way. Yes, it is a democracy which lets us tell stories of such legendary heroes with a twinkle in our eyes and a chuckle in our throats. And so long as we continue to laugh together as a people, ladies and gentlemen, we will live together as a nation.
Now, X-1 and PrimeDifference.
I suppose every guy reaches a point once in his lifetime where he gets 140% fed up with his wife. Understand now, I've got nothing against marriage. Marriage is great. A good red-blooded American institution. Only it's so permanent. Especially when you're married to a woman like Marge. Ah, she was a dream to look at. Tawny hair and sulky gray eyes and a shape that could set your teeth chattering. But she had a tongue like a number 10 wood rasp and a list of grievances long enough to paper a ballroom.
Why do you always upset me in the morning when I've got a headache?
I'm not trying to upset
now,
you.
Now, you deliberately...
I'm trying to have my coffee so I can go down to the office and earn a living.
A living? Go ahead. Run away. That's all you've done all our married life. Whenever there's something unpleasant to be faced, you run away.
I'd even forgotten what the unpleasant something was.
Well, then I'll remind you. It's your own selfish, indulgent nature. Staying out till after midnight when I was here waiting and suffering.
I was working. I was at the office working.
I know you were at the office, dear. I phoned, remember?
Well, then what in blazes...
Only you weren't working. Your breath
Oh,
was...
listen. I fired Miss Carver. She was okay, but I fired her for you. It was her last day. We all had a couple of drinks, that's all. Maybe we just weren't meant for each other. I don't know. If we'd been living back in the blissful 50s, I might have divorced her. But this was 1974. And what with the Family Togetherness Act of 68 and the Aggrieved Spouse Compensation Act of 69, I'd have been an outcast and a pauper for the rest of my life. So you can't really blame me, can you, for looking for another way out, I mean? Oh, come. Oh, hi, Harry boy.
Say, George, I just dug your new secretary out in the waiting room.
Oh, is she here already?
Ooh, boy. I tell you, if I had a secretary like that, the first thing I'd do is go out and get myself an Ego Prime.
A what?
An Ego Prime, a duplicate of myself to send home to the wife evenings.
You know, that's strictly against the law, Harry.
So speeding, but everybody does it.
Well, anyway, I wouldn't think of it. It's indecent.
Well, it's just joking, Georgie boy, just joking. Still, it's fun to think about, huh? Freedom from wife. Absolutely safe and harmless. Not even too expensive if you have the right contacts.
Well, come in.
Mr. Faircloth?
Yes.
I'm Jerry Lamont, your new secretary.
What did I tell you, Georgie boy?
Harry, if you don't mind, I'd like to get right down to work with Miss Lamont. Excuse us.
Why not? Don't forget what we were talking about, huh, Georgie? I happen to know a fellow with just the right contacts for that deal.
Yeah, sure. So long, Harry.
So long. Bye, Miss Lamont.
Bye.
Well, glad to have you aboard, Miss Lamont.
Oh, Miss Lamont is so formal. Mr. Blickendorf called me Jerry when I worked for him.
Oh, Hank Blickendorf?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you must be the girl he, You must have accompanied him on his business trip to Rio.
Yes.
Well, he spoke very highly of you. I'm sure we'll get along just fine.
Well, I feel the same way. I prefer working for a younger man than Mr. Blickendorf, anyway.
When I came home to dinner that night, Marge was waiting with a full barrage. She let me get my first bite of dinner halfway to my mouth and then opened up.
Well, I hear you got a new secretary today.
Yeah.
I also hear she's 5'8" and tapes out at 38, 25, 36, and likes men.
That's quite a spy system you've got there.
She isn't much of a secretary either.
She's a perfectly good secretary.
So that isn't what Molly Blickendorf said.
I don't care what Molly Blickendorf said.
Now, where are you going?
I have to make a business call. I forgot.
Well, I suppose it would be too much to expect you to do your work at the office with that Miss...
Harry? George Faircloth. Listen, Harry, you know that conversation we had this afternoon? Could you put me in touch with your friend? Yes, as soon as possible. The following evening, I found myself at the door of a dingy office in an ancient warehouse up near 14th Street. A little rodent of a man answered.
Yes, brother?
I'm George Faircloth. Harry sent me.
Oh, yes. Step inside, brother.
I've been told you can supply me with...
Yes, brother. It might be possible. We get quite a few busy executives who are in a hurry. Can't be bothered with licensing a utility prime.
Mister, if I wanted an ordinary utility prime, I wouldn't have hiked up here. I'd have picked up the phone and ordered it. I want a super deluxe Ego Prime with all the circuits open. In short, a carbon copy of me, George Faircloth.
Well, just step back here, brother. Fine. These domestic situations can be awkward. You understand, if the feds find out about this, you're in as much trouble as we are.
I'm more worried about my wife finding out.
Ease your mind, brother. We've never had one yet. Except for that little shut-off control in the hair behind the ear, these ego primes are identical with living humans. Now, if you'll just step back into the lab and take your clothes off, we'll start.
I spent a busy 2 hours under the NP microprobes. The artists worked outside, taking casts and impressions, while the technicians worked inside, feeding all my brain patterns into a Hunyadi pantograph. I came out of it pretty woozy, but a shot of Happy O fixed that. Then I waited in the recovery room until the salesman walked in, followed by a tall, sandy-haired man with tired blue eyes wearing a business suit, who looked remarkably like me.
Mr. Faircloth?
Yes?
Meet Mr. Faircloth, Prime.
So, this is me. Shake, George. Why, he even talks like me. I ought to. I've got a dozen Hunyadi tubes in my cranial vault with your speech patterns on them. I'll be doggone.
Nice job, eh?
Well, it's fantastic.
Now, the shut-off mechanism is behind his right ear. Now, bring him in every 2 months for the regular 2-month refill and pattern accommodation.
Let me get a few things straight. How do we change places?
George Prime has remote recall. You just signal him with this transmitter, and he'll come to you wherever you are.
Oh, good. Suppose I call you GP for George Prime. Okay with me, George. Right.
Now, there's the matter of the check.
Oh, yes, right here. Yeah, all made out.
Good. Well, thank you. And good luck.
Okay. Well, let's go, GP. I'd like you to meet the little woman. Half an hour later, George Prime put my pipe in his mouth and walked into the house. I stayed out in my workshop in the garage and listened. 5 minutes later, they were fighting. It sounded so familiar, I laughed out loud. Then I caught a cab and headed uptown toward Jerry's place. We had quite an evening, and I rolled in just as George Prime was starting the car, business suit and briefcase, ready for work. I slipped into the garage. Hey, hold it. Oh, you're back. How'd it go, huh? Whew. Boy, you didn't tell me you were married to a female Bengal tiger. Well, she didn't suspect it, she? Oh, of course not. Well, what'd you do? Well, fought till about 1 a.m., then went to our respective corners and sulked. You think you can handle it? Listen, she's really a sweet girl underneath. Now, I'll be so attentive and sweet, she'll soften up. You wait and see. Well, don't overdo it. She is my wife, you know. Naturally. Now, you're sure you understand the recall signal? Perfectly. When you buzz the recall, I wait for the first logical opportunity to join you, and then you take over. Right. Now, climb into the trunk here, and I'll shut you off and lock you in. Righto. Well, I'll see you tonight, old man. I'll see you tonight, George. I could go on at some length about my exploits, but I won't. In the end, it was like buying a 3-dimension TV set. After a week or two, the novelty starts to wear off. Well, I got it down to where Tuesday and Thursday nights I was informally out while formally in. The rest of the time, George Prime was in the box. Well, Marge didn't suspect a thing. In fact, George Prime was having a remarkable effect on her.
Oh, that you, George?
Yeah?
Hello. Oh, you look tired. Have a hard day?
Well, now that you mention it, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, why don't you sit down and relax? I fixed a martini before dinner.
That sounds like a splendid idea. Are you all right?
I'm fine. Why?
Nothing.
Well, what are you looking at?
Are you? You've done something to your hair or something.
You like it?
Yes. You know, I've always thought you were a darn beautiful woman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Faircloth. You know, you're not so bad yourself since you stopped scowling and snapping.
I guess that's a compliment, huh?
George, isn't it about time we stopped clawing each other?
It's what I've always wanted, Marge.
So have I. And, well, you've changed so much recently.
What changed?
Well, you know, you've been less irritable and more considerate and so much more vital. Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm afraid I do.
George.
Yeah?
Look, let's have dinner and some wine and spend a nice evening together, like we used to when we were first married.
Why, sounds fine. Holy smokes. Hey, what time is it?
It's 7:30. Why?
Listen, I have to run down to the corner for some tobacco. I wouldn't want to spend a relaxing evening without tobacco, you know.
But there's some in your holder.
Well, I want something fresh. You chill the wine. I won't be a minute.
All right, dear, and hurry back.
I'd forgotten all about my date with Jerry. Actually, I didn't want to keep it. The idea of spending a quiet evening with Marge was really appealing for a change. But I had to run over and explain to Jerry, so I sent George Prime in to keep Marge company till I got back, which was about midnight. As I walked down the path, I looked in the window. George Prime was there, and he was kissing my wife the way I hadn't kissed her in years, and she wasn't exactly fighting him off either. I almost wore off my thumb on that recall button before he came out to the garage. Are you there, George? It's me, GP. Well, it's about time. I'm sorry, old man. Sorry. Look, I saw what was going on in there. Well, you know, old bean, I am a super deluxe model. I should say you are. First thing tomorrow, big boy, I'm taking you in to have your circuits rewired. Look, aren't you being a little overly jealous? No, I mean for a man who wanted to get rid of his wife. I never said that. Well, I could never understand it personally. Listen. She's the one who's going to be suspicious if I don't get back there. Now, you give me that dressing gown and you get back in that box. Tomorrow morning, back to the factory. Marge was waiting for me. And one of those flimsy things that I'd given her when we were first married. I must say she looked so charming and lovely that my heart just melted. And still I was overwhelmed with a sense of guilt, and I wanted to tell her what I'd done.
You finally got back. I thought you'd never get here.
Oh, my, you look ravishing.
That's the idea.
Marge, listen, I've got to tell you something, and before I do, I want you to know that in spite of the cad I've been, I do love you. I always have.
I know that. And you don't have to tell me anything.
Oh, this is important. And it'll shock you. In fact, you may never speak to me.
I know what you're going to tell me.
You mean?
About George Prime.
Great Scott, you knew.
Well, of course, George. Now, you don't think I could be fooled by something out of the lab, do you?
You've known all along?
All along.
Oh, Marge. Then tomorrow morning, we'll send that stuff dummy back to the factory. And then we'll live the way we've always wanted.
Oh, yes, dearest. The way we've always wanted.
I just don't know where to begin.
Then why not begin by just kissing me?
I kissed her tenderly, and her lips were softer and more responsive than I've ever known them. Yes, she'd certainly changed. I turned out the lamp. I ran my fingers through her fragrant, tawny hair. My thumb stopped at a little depression behind her ear. And then suddenly, I knew what had happened. It was a turn-off switch, of course. And I, George Faircloth, was now married to Marge Prime.
X-1 has brought you PrimeDifference, written by Alan E. Norse and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Lawson Zerbe as George and George Prime, Anne Loring as Marge, Evelyn Jester as Jerry, Merrill Joels as the salesman, and John Thomas as Harry. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
We pause now for station identification.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Tsylana by James E. Gunn. But first, hear this. Now, X-1. Our story, Tsylana by James E. Gunn.
My name is Norman Blake, statistician first class. At 2:30 p.m. on Monday, October 21st, in the year 2055, I became a deviant. I left my job an hour early. To deviate from the norm was unheard of in a perfectly adjusted society such as ours. Thanks to the great psychologist Kinder, we had a society where everybody's job suited his talents and needs, where children were raised scientifically, and where everyone lived happily on an even keel instead of swinging back and forth from gloom to ecstasy. Then I noticed it, the single flaw in the perfect system.
Come in. Yes, Norm.
Henry, I'd like to talk to you for a moment, privately.
Close the door. It's rather unusual for me to see one of my statisticians privately, but since we're old friends...
Something rather serious has come up.
Oh?
As you know, my duty is to check the computers to make certain there are no deviations.
Yes?
This morning, I ran over the figures for our district. Here is the sheet. The deviation is near the bottom.
1,037 gallons of water purified, 1,037 gallons consumed, 9,328 births, 9,328 deaths. I see nothing wrong so far. No?
Read the next item.
One candy bar taken from baby. Well?
Don't you see? A baby can't consent. Therefore, it must have been taken without consent. Henry, that is theft. We haven't had a case of theft in this society for almost 29 years.
I see.
It's got me so upset I can't think of anything else.
You're a little edgy, aren't you?
Well, wouldn't you be if you knew there was an antisocial being walking the streets of your own city?
I don't think I'd quite go to pieces like that. Maybe, well, this is just a suggestion. Maybe you ought to see an analyst. Perhaps it would help you deal with this problem.
I've been analyzed.
How long ago?
8 years.
Well, unless you're prepared to handle this problem, I'd advise you to get some help. Meanwhile, take the rest of the afternoon off.
Off? Deviate from the schedule?
As director, and as an old friend of yours, I order it. I consider you to be in extreme upset.
That's your order?
That's my order.
I must confess that as I went toward the elevator, a line kept running through my head. Norm has departed from the norm. I was doing something unorthodox. And what frightened me was that it amused me. Here I was, leaving work 1 hour early. I was so preoccupied that I stepped into the elevator without noticing that someone was already in it. An invasion of privacy almost unforgivable. He was a small, strange-looking man with short silver hair and thick, round glasses. Oops, I beg your pardon. I didn't really know you were...
Perfectly all right, stranger.
I'll just step out and...
Hold it, brother. You've got troubles, I can see.
Well,
My advice to you is see an analyst. Don't wait another 24 hours.
Thank you for the advice.
That's more than advice, brother. It's a commercial. Here's my card. Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst.
Oh, you're an analyst.
Freelance.
I didn't know there were any.
I'm probably one of the few still practicing. My slogan is, don't kid with your id. If life ain't dandy, come see Andy.
I may be up to see you.
You will, I can tell.
I put on my public face, the mask we wear on the street, and rode home in the proper manner, my arms and hands folded. When I got home, my wife, Nada, was in her room. I signaled on the intercom in case she was, entertaining. She wasn't. She never did. Sometimes I wondered if Nada was quite normal and well-adjusted. Hello, darling.
Is something wrong? Why are you home so early?
I just uncovered a crime wave.
A what?
A crime wave. A theft. Candy. From a baby.
Well, is that serious?
It threatens the entire structure of our society. We have a delicately balanced mechanism here. We're not ready for crime. We don't even know how to catch a criminal.
Isn't there an old saying, it takes a thief to catch a thief?
It takes a... Darling, that's it. That's the answer to our problem.
What is?
In order to protect society, I've got to catch the thief. And the only way to do it, obviously, is to become one myself.
You're listening to Tsylana, tonight's attraction on X-1. Now, back to X-1 and Tsylana.
The address on the card was a deserted skyscraper, a pre-analytic building. The elevators were out of order, and I had to climb 29 flights of stairs. Finally, I was in front of a door that read, Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst. Grin and come in. Mr. Rednick?
It ain't Santa Claus, brother.
Who?
You wouldn't remember. Park your ego. Now, boy, what's your problem?
I've got to do something, and it isn't in my psychological profile.
That's the trouble with this society. Nobody's capable of handling the unexpected.
Are you saying there's an advantage to being unadjusted?
Don't second-guess the analyst, boy. If you mean by advantage, will you be happier? No. But if you mean power, then you've got it. In a country of normal people, the neurotic man is king. You want to be king, boy?
Of course not. I'm perfectly happy and well-adjusted, except for one little problem.
Namely?
I've got to catch a thief.
So?
So I've got to know how a thief thinks and feels, what he does, where he goes.
You mean you want to become neurotic?
Exactly.
This is a rather unorthodox request.
I suppose it is.
I could lose my license if anyone found out.
If you don't do it, it could mean the end of society and civilization.
As bad as that, eh? Very well.
Start at once?
Why not? Sit at my desk while I lie down on the couch and tell you about my childhood.
You lie down? I'm the one that's supposed to lie down.
You forget this is reverse analysis. I'm supposed to make you neurotic, frustrated. Now then, the first thing I remember was an argument between my father and mother.
You were living with your own father and mother? Ooh, how unhygienic. What a nasty situation.
You aren't very good at this sort of thing, are you, boy? You're supposed to listen, not comment. Now then, when I was 27, I perfected analysis and revolutionized society.
What are you talking about? Kinder perfected analysis and revolutionized society. He died.
Don't second-guess the analyst.
You know, I'm beginning to dislike you already.
Fine. We're making progress already. You're beginning to experience dislike. Next, we'll achieve hatred, and then loathing. In 3 weeks, you'll be well on the road to becoming a crook.
Every day for the next week, Rednick lay comfortably on his red leather couch, rambling about his childhood and his problems, while I longed to tell him about my own. I grew more and more repressed, and my disposition became worse and worse. On the 8th day, something happened at the office that made me realize I had to hurry.
Come in.
Henry, it's happened.
What?
The thief has struck again, but this time it's even more serious.
What did he take?
$1 million is missing from the First District Bank.
Great Scott.
We've got to find this thief, Henry. We're doomed if we don't.
Well, maybe he's worked out his repressions. After all, what can a man steal after he's stolen $1 million?
I don't know, but I intend to find out.
Maybe you ought to drop it, Norm.
How can you say a thing like that? It's positively antisocial.
Calm down now. You're all upset again. Why don't you take the day off and go home? Spend some time with that lovely wife of yours. She misses you.
How do you know?
Norm, boy, do I detect a note of jealousy? You'd better watch your step. Jealousy is the forerunner of violence. Are you seeing an analyst, as I suggested?
Yes, I am.
Well, keep at it, boy. You're in bad shape.
I kept at it. By the time the annual status examinations were due, I was a complete wreck. I hated Andrew Rednick with a passion. I was ambitious and jealous. I had even sunk to that basest of all passions. I had fallen in love with my own wife. And still I had not been able to ferret out the thief. He had not struck again.
Ah, you're early, son.
So I'm early.
You'll have to wait. I have another patient.
What?
You'll have to wait. I have another patient in the other room. He'll be leaving in a minute. Just sit down.
Another patient. I could have killed him. Never occurred to me that Andrew C. Rednick would have another patient. After a few moments, a man emerged from the inner office. He was wearing a silver mask or public face, and naturally I couldn't see his features. As I had my own mask on, he didn't see my features either, but I sensed a certain hostility as he brushed by me.
Come in, son.
Who is he?
Take it easy. We don't reveal the names or identities of patients.
I hate him.
You're jealous.
Jealous? As a matter of fact, I've been thinking of quitting the analysis.
Good. This is your last session anyway.
My last session? But it can't be. The annual examinations are coming up tomorrow. I am not ready. I'll be demoted to a menial job.
I doubt it.
I told you I'm not ready. What can I do?
Have you ever thought of cheating?
On the examination? That's horrible. Only a monster could suggest such a thing. What kind of man are you? Who are you, Rednick?
Let me close the door. Now, look through the glass at my sign. You can read it backwards with the door closed.
Andrew Rednick. Rednick backwards. Kinder? You? Oh, it's impossible. He's the founder of our whole society. Besides, he's dead. He died in an accident.
All staged. I just decided to duck out.
Why?
Because, my friend, I found I had created a Frankenstein, a perfect society. It was like paradise, a Garden of Eden. The same silly people, happy, not wanting anything, not going anyplace, and not changing. So I decided to create a little sin and thereby give the creatures change, growth, misery, ecstasy, and free will. In a sense, I made them creative. Well, son, au revoir.
But am I really finished?
You're just beginning. Your frustrations are like rabbits, boy. They just keep breeding. I'm the one who's finished.
He clapped his hat on his head and walked out, leaving me alone in his office. When I walked over to his desk, I found a gun lying on top of it. I put it in my pocket and returned to my office. The next 5 hours were spent in statistically predicting the questions I would be asked on the annual examination and in finding out the answers in advance. Then I went home.
Darling, how did it go?
Nada, take a good look at your husband. See anything different?
Well, I've been noticing a change for the past few weeks.
You're going to notice a much bigger change, sweetheart. Tomorrow, the new appointments will be made based on the results of the annual examination.
Did you do well?
Did I do well? Read this card.
The enclosed card has a magnetic reproduction of your new psychological profile. It indicates you are in the 99th percentile of leadership with the second highest altruism rating ever scored. Therefore, a new position has been created for you. Beginning tomorrow, you will be deputy mayor of the district. Deputy, darling, it's wonderful.
Yes, I dare say it is. Only one thing troubles me.
What's that?
I can't understand how anybody scored higher than I did. I'd counted on becoming mayor. The following day, I reported to the office of the new mayor of our district, the only person who had scored higher than I on the annual examination. I was ushered in promptly. The new mayor was seated behind a huge desk. He wore his public face mask. Mr. Mayor, I'm Norman Blake, the new deputy.
Yes, we've met, you know.
Oh, I'm afraid I
Let
don't...
me remove my public face. There.
Henry Foreman.
I'm amazed you didn't guess sooner.
How?
Quite simple. You and I, dear fellow, have unstable patterns. With me, the first break came the day I took that bar of candy from the baby as I was passing the nursery. My own act frightened me so that I sought an analyst. The same analyst you sought.
Rednick?
Rednick, Kinder, it's all the same.
And you were the thief, and I never...
It takes one to know one, Norm.
You cheated on the exam, too.
Using the computer, just as you did.
Are there any others like us?
I don't know. We'll find out, though. We're ambitious, you and I. That means we'll be moving up, heading for the governorship, perhaps even the presidency. And then we'll collide with the others, if there are any. As Rednick said, in a world of normal people, the neurotic is king.
The only trouble with that is there can only be one king.
That's right. And only one mayor.
The look he gave me then sent chills up and down my spine. In spite of my high position, I haven't had a moment's peace or relaxation since. Neither, I suspect, has Henry Foreman. There were imbalances in our world which had to lead to the destruction of one or all of us, and we knew it. There was one saying that Rednick Kinder had forgotten to tack up on his wall. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Fred Collins again, and I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment. The attention of the nation is focused on Los Angeles and New York, the cities where two long-awaited World Championship boxing matches will take place. The ears of the nation will be tuned to Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio, the only network that will bring you both these championship bouts. Friday night, Archie Moore versus Tony Anthony for the light heavyweight crown. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Carmen Basilio for the world's middleweight title. And you'll hear them both direct from ringside only on Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio. Yes, Friday night, light heavyweight champ Archie Moore pits his skill and experience against the youth and stamina of Tony Anthony. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest boxers in history, defends his middleweight crown against Carmen Basilio. Two great championship fights, Friday night, Moore versus Anthony, Monday night, Robinson versus Basilio. Both brought to you direct from ringside on Cavalcade of Sports, exclusively on these same NBC radio stations. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Morning After by Robert Sheckley. What was Pearson doing here? Would he live or die? For the answers to these and other questions, he had to keep tuning in on a hangover. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. X-1 has brought you Tsylana, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Walter Black as Norman Blake, David Ross as Andrew C. Rednig, Adele Ronson as Nada, and Guy Rep as Foreman. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.